We spend about a third of our entire lives sleeping, and a huge chunk of that time we're dreaming. But what is actually going on in our heads when we create these worlds? Worlds that can feel just as real and sometimes maybe even more real than the one you're in right now.
I mean, think about it. Have you ever woken up from a dream that it just sticks with you all day?
You know the one. It was so vivid, so unbelievably detailed, that every sight, every sound, every feeling was just completely and utterly convincing. To the point where for that one split second after you open your eyes, you actually have to stop and figure out what was the dream and what is reality. It's such a strange, kind of unsettling feeling, right?
Well, that feeling is exactly what we're going to dive into today. Because dreams, they aren't just some random, blurry images floating around. Oh no. Your mind is doing something way, way more incredible. It's literally building entire worlds from scratch.
A dream isn't some movie you're just passively watching. It's a full-on experience. Your mind is generating these incredible landscapes. It's populating them with people you know and people you've never met. It's creating these complex stories, and it's flooding the whole thing with raw, powerful emotions. We're talking pure joy or gut-wrenching sorrow.
So the big question is, how on earth does our brain pull this off? How does it become this master architect of alternate realities every single night? Well, the answer is pretty fascinating, and it lies deep in the science of what happens when we're completely conked out.
So, all this magic happens during a phase called REM sleep. That stands for rapid eye movement. Now, during REM, your brain activity just skyrockets. It becomes almost as active as it is right now while you're awake. It's also when your body goes into a state of temporary paralysis, which is actually a pretty brilliant safety feature to keep you from, physically acting out these wild experiences.
And here is the absolute key to why dreams feel the way they do. The parts of your brain that control vision and emotion, especially this little part called the amygdala, they are firing on all cylinders. They're going wild. But your prefrontal cortex, the part that's in charge of logic and rational thought, it pretty much just takes a nap.
And this is so crucial. Your brain isn't sitting there asking if any of this makes sense. It's not analyzing the situation. You are just experiencing it. And that's why the happiness in a dream can feel so incredibly pure, and the fear can be so absolutely terrifying. There's just no logical filter to get in the way.
So this shutdown of the logic center, that's what leads to the bizarre, strange rules of the dream world. It's a place where the most ridiculous narratives are just accepted as totally normal. I mean, think about a typical dream you've had. One minute, you're flying through the clouds, and it feels completely natural. The next, boom, you're instantly in your childhood home, and you're having a deep conversation with a long-lost pet about where you left your keys. And in that moment, your brain doesn't flag any of it as weird or impossible. It just accepts the reality it's in, no matter how wild it gets.
But what happens when that quiet, logical part of the brain suddenly decides to switch back on? Well, that's when things get really interesting. It leads to a phenomenon that you might have even experienced yourself.
This is what we call lucid dreaming. It's that incredible, mind-bending moment inside the dream where part of your consciousness just goes, wait a second, I'm dreaming. For some people, that awareness gives them the power to become the director of their own dream, to literally control the world around them and do the impossible.
And when you start digging into the mechanics of dreams, from REM sleep to lucid awareness, you inevitably go from science to a much deeper, more philosophical place. A place that can honestly be a little unsettling. Because when you boil it all down, here's the truth of it all. The sense of sight, the feeling of joy, the very perception of reality itself, it's all being processed and interpreted by the exact same organ. Your brain is the engine that runs both worlds.
So if that's true, if your brain is capable of building an experience so convincing, so rich with detail that you 100% believe it's real, how can you be absolutely certain that this waking life isn't just another, maybe more persistent, more elaborate dream? Maybe there's a reason that dreams can feel even more potent than reality. In a dream, there are no laws of physics. There are no social contracts, no real consequences. It's not just an interpretation of an experience. It is the experience, totally raw and completely unfiltered. So you got to ask yourself, which one is truly the real one? The world where you have to follow all the rules, or the one where your mind is finally and completely free?
If you've ever had one of those hyper-real dreams we're talking about, do me a favor and hit that like button. And I would love to hear about your craziest dream experience, so drop it in the comments below.
And of course, subscribe for more mind-bending explainers just like this one.
Because sometimes reality is just another dream.